Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back to the show. Lina Carpenito joining us here today from the Leaping Lotus Wellness Studio. How are you doing, darling?
Hey, I'm doing good, Jill. How are you?
Good. I just want to point out, it's Lina, correct?
It is.
Okay, because on your screen it says Leelah. So
yes, because Leela's a yoga name that I've.
Okay, I got worried. I thought I had your name wrong. Okay.
You're good. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Lina. Please introduce yourself to our listeners here.
Hi, everyone. So as you know, I'm Lina. Leelah is my yoga name, so it's kind of a tongue twister, Lina Leelah. And then it gets better at Leaping Lotus.
Perfect.
So Lina Carpenito at Leaping Lotus Wellness Studio.
Great. And give us a little bit of your background. Tell us about yourself before we get started a little bit further into our day.
Yeah, so I'm a yoga therapist. I've been practicing yoga therapy probably since 2007. Somewhere around there. At the same time, I also graduated from nutrition, so practicing health coaching since then too, and then just kind of kept diving in a little further and matching and mirroring the Ayurvedic component to the yoga therapy component because they are really kind of related. It's, the deeper I go, the more I understand that they almost can't be separated. Yep. So just keep going. I do teacher trainings, a lot of mentoring, wellness educating, and the list goes on and on.
Perfect. And what do you have in store for us today? What would you like to discuss? Let's start with that.
Well, today I think the importance of self-care is a big topic. Especially, we keep talking about this pandemic coming out of it and sort of, losing the self-care. It's funny, I just talked to somebody yesterday and she said, yeah, this is the first time I put jeans on in a year and a half.
Yeah, feels good, doesn't it?
But it's like, oh, right. I'm I got to put clothes on. I got to get dressed. I got to go out into the world again. So people are really, interestingly kind of adjusting. But the importance of self-care now more than ever. And that's far beyond like the obvious eating, sleeping, doing what we got to do. I mean, that's kind of just the getting through the day part of it. But what are we really doing to nurture ourselves? What are we really doing to feel good, to take care of ourselves, to, give ourselves a break? Do we give ourselves a break even?
Good question.
No. And that's one thing I got to tell you, Jill, and all the calls and everybody I've been talking to, the topic of being overwhelmed. I tell you, it's overwhelming to me.
Hear about everyone's overwhelmed. Yes, exactly.
After person, and it's almost on repeat. And I'm saying to myself, wow, this is really something to take a little more seriously. Like, I don't want to be exaggerated and say epidemic, but I mean, this is real, guys. Like, I mean, I can't tell you, every time I talk to someone all day long, what can I do for you? How are you here? I'm so overwhelmed. I can't sleep. I'm not. Yeah. And it's the umbrella of being overwhelmed that's causing everybody to not sleep, to not eat right. I mean, this whole, and we all know, we're all guilty of it, me included. We've all done this, right?
Yeah.
Eating on the go, not drinking enough water. And then it's kind of, right. And so we have I mean, I can give you a million examples. She goes, I really need to kick my sugar habit. It's really bad. I know it, but I don't know how to stop it. And I'm using sugar as a source of fuel because it's just getting me through the day. And I'm petrified because my entire family is diabetic or like pre-diabetic, and I'm headed down a really bad road. And this was someone who was in her 20s.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's crazy, is that it's not like it's an all age thing. It's an everybody across the board thing. Like there's no like, oh, you're that age kind of thing. No, this is just the world we live in today. And this is what's going on. This is real.
Well, can you give us some tips about how to get better sleep and how to eat better? I mean, I think that would be important for sure.
For sure. I mean, this is like, honestly, like a 10-hour conversation.
I know we have to kind of cut it down a bit, but go ahead. We'll do our best.
personalized. And you know me, one of the things that I never ever do at Leaping Lotus is like give the umbrella terms, because everybody's got their own unique circumstance that
Yep.
and where they are. So I want to make sure that everybody's clear that this is not just cookie cutter for everyone across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the big things is, let's look at your schedule. That's one of the first things I do. You know, I gave this analogy to somebody last week, and I said, does your day feel like this? I said, the dishes are in the sink and they're piled up so high that you're reaching on your tippy toes to put that one more dish on there. And does it feel like all you ever do is put dishes on there and never take dishes off? And yeah. And she said, oh my God, you described my life. And I said, okay. I said, so the only way to tackle this is one dish at a time. And it's a really simple analogy. So I said to her, let's do this. Let's break this down and keep it really simple. And this worked for her. This is not cookie cutter. I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody. I said, put a timer on your phone.
Yeah.
And set it for 15 minutes. And so whatever task you need to do it for 15 minutes.
Yep.
Whether it's cleaning the dishes or whatever we feel that we can't get to. Like she said, I have this feeling that life is passing me by and that I'm going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And that like I can't get to, and like so it's causing the anxiety, it's causing like the
Yep.
all of it. Like she can't breathe, she's not sleeping at night, and it's just the snowball effect. So we started with 15 minutes, like whatever it is. If it's 2 dishes, awesome. If it's, I don't know, you dusted the dust off the bottom of your slippers, great. Whatever it is, because for her, it was, she kept thinking, and the more she kept thinking, the worse things got. And I said to her, do you feel like you spend most of your day thinking about what you can't do?
Yeah.
And getting
It's
to it?
done. Yep. It's at that list, that never ending list that I don't get to check off. Yes.
She did. She goes, it's this rat in my brain over, and I play it over and over and over. And I said, do you realize that you're actually losing time thinking about the list as opposed to actually tackling one thing off of it? And it was like light bulb moment, you know? So it's those kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
So that's why we came up with the timer idea for her. And for her, it worked great. And that was like a simple solution. 15 minutes every day. She puts her timer on. She picks one thing. I told her one thing, not 10 things, not 20 things, one thing for 15 minutes.
Wow.
And that was a simple solution. You know, the only way to kind of get ahead of this overwhelmed feeling is to do less.
Yeah.
You're not going to solve the problem by doing more.
Oh, you're right. True.
So and that's something that also takes a little bit to wrap our head around, because it's kind of like, I say that to people and they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Is that possible? I'm never going to get to anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you're never going to get to anything because you're going a mile a minute thinking about what you can't get to.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this mind game that we have to play this game with ourselves. And that's the best thing, is to then break it down even further, Jill. And we look at it, okay, so map out your whole day for me. Let's talk about your whole day. And I tell you, that was another, like, from the minute we get out of bed, the minute we put our feet on the floor, it doesn't stop until the minute we get back in bed. And I would generally say that's most people.
Yeah.
Right? Most
I'm
people.
guilty. That's me. And I'm sick of it myself, but I'm like, well, how do I fix it? I have the 2 kids, I have the job, I have the bus, I have the other one. I'm like this, I'm like that. Am I working from home? Am I going to the studio? I'm like, it's a lot.
Right? And then you sit there and say to yourself, wait, what day is today?
If I could show you, I have like piles on my floor of like bills and mail that has to be filed away. I haven't been able to do it in like a month. The pile's like very high.
Yeah. And it's like a juggle, because then it's like, well, do I rest or do I do a project, or do I, go out and enjoy? And then it's like, I mean, this is a massive topic, because then it's like the guilt of leaving it there and going out and having fun. And where does that where does that leave you? And how do you find joy in that? And how do you find happiness in that? And it's like, talk about not being able to breathe, and talk about anxiety, like up to here. I mean, we're literally all up to here.
Yep.
All of us. Right? So what do we do?
Good question. And you're our experts. So I'm hoping you have some answers.
Yeah, this is really hard. It's a big, massive topic. And again, it's the art of doing less. And at the same timer effect, I said, okay, so our next part of the lesson, 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes, we've scientifically proven, actually, I got this from one of my health coaching books. We can do anything for 15 minutes, even if we don't like it. Because a lot of the things that we know we have to do, we don't really want to do, and we don't really like doing them. So you could see how this is just endless. I mean, really. The procrastinating, the sabotaging. I mean, that goes, it's big.
Yeah.
So 15 minutes, right? You can sit and be quiet for 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
For 15 minutes. And the results of that have been like profound. And so I'm trying my hardest to get my clients off of anything stimulating an hour before bed. That's another thing. That's very hard to do.
Cell phones, the television, the electronics, everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is another one. I mean, crazy as it sounds, don't pay bills before bed. Why would you do that to yourself? Don't pay bills. Don't read a horror story. Don't, your brain is going to process whatever the last thought on your mind, and then you're going to try to close your eyes.
Oh, and it's not going to work now.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've scientifically proven now, we all know this whole blue light thing and everything that's going on. But when your eyes take in information, obviously with a phone or with a laptop or, an iPad or whatever you have. So you're taking light in. Light is sending a message to your brain to stay awake and to work, right? So if you have to do something, dim it, find it, don't put it on the brightest setting. If you have to, I'd rather you didn't. But also sleeping should be.
I love it. Uh-huh.
Lights out. I mean, people hate me when I say this. Lights out, no sound, nothing.
No light. What about like a little light? No, not good.
I mean, if people need a night light, I get it. Look,
okay, but really should be complete darkness. Okay.
It should be dark. It should be quiet. It should be peaceful. And if your bedroom is not your sanctuary, you need to make it one.
Okay.
Because I don't think we realize how much like the clutter, affects your space, affects like your breathing, it affects your ability to relax and unwind, it affects everything.
Yeah.
Put on a nice blanket, something soft, something comfortable. We all have favorite PJs. We all have.
True.
We need that. And you need to do those steps. And that is self-care.
Okay.
That's self-care, not just jumping into bed after you just watched, I don't know, a horror movie where like 10 people got murdered and there's blood everywhere. Gonna, quiet your mind for sleep.
Got it. Well, also today, I know you want to discuss about happiness, right? And how it's a vital part of self-care. So happiness, you say, is medicine for the body and the mind. So let's talk about what most people think happiness is. Can you explain that?
Oh God, we got some good topics. This is good, Jill. I love to ask people this question. Well, are you happy? And it's interesting to me that I get a lot of deer in the headlights and they ask me, what do you mean? Or the questions I get back when I start this dialogue with people is, sure, I'm happy. I have a house. I have, it's very interesting to me that they equate happiness with things.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we most of us do. And I'll say, well, so you're satisfied and you have your needs met. And they say, yes. And I'm like, that's awesome, because think about how many people don't even have that, right? So that's great. If you have that, you're in the direction for sure. But are you really happy?
Mm,
We have to do some digging here, because most people can't answer that question honestly.
true.
So what is it? What is it? What makes us happy?
Tell us what should make us happy. I mean, you're right. I'm thankful for a roof over my head, but yeah, yeah. I mean, that's important, but not my home. I'm trying to think of the things I say as well that may not sound so right either. Okay.
But we all, but this is a personal question. Everybody's going to answer this different. Um, you know, I can say what makes me happy. What makes me happy is that I have the ability
To
find that it's happiness is the only way I could explain it is that it's here.
mm-hmm.
And I know that doesn't necessarily resonate with a lot of people. Um, but it's beyond your needs. Yes, we have roofs over our head. Yes, we have food on the table. And those are big things, because without that, we're really struggling for survival.
Yeah.
But beyond survival, you know, it's we have jobs and we're fortunate for our jobs, but are we happy? Are we happy? And that takes some time to sit and really look at yourself. Happiness is, how do I interact with people in the world?
Yeah.
You wake up with such overwhelming gratitude and be like, oh my God, I opened my eyes another day, that you can breathe, that you
Full grateful. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
walk, that you can like enjoy the sunshine,
Yeah.
that you can see beyond the hustle and bustle of the day, the craziness of your schedule. Can you see beyond the craziness of your schedule? Can you see joy in living? That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Living. What is living? I mean, really, what is it? We don't know. No, I know.
Doing it now, but right now, are we? Are we dreaming? This is real. This is reality, right? Yeah.
But what is it? It's it's connecting to our senses, our five senses, in a way that we never. I mean, when we're going a mile a minute, talking about that overwhelmed, you don't have time to smell, to taste, to feel, right? To hear, nothing, to touch. I mean, we're coming out of a year and a half of no hugs.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think that did to us? Really? What do you think that did to
Worried what it's doing to the children. We don't know that effects on them yet, but yeah.
horrible, right?
Mhm.
Right? So we're now actually starting to interact with people again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's wonderful. I hope that people can see the awesomeness in that. That we do need each other, that living in isolation is not normal. That's not, people are not meant to live that way. We weren't put here to live in a room. So these really are things like, what is it? Is it your family that brings you such incredible joy? Or are we able to be in a room or be present with ourselves in such a way where there's complete delight? And I'm not, it's very interesting. I practice, I do a lot of, when I do my retreats, this is a good example. I love to do this. I send people on a walking meditation outside, and I tell them no talking. And they, what do you mean? I'm like, don't talk to each other. If you have a way, figure out a way to communicate with each other. I'm like, but it's silent.
Yeah.
And I do that because we're so uncomfortable with silence. We're so uncomfortable with just being with ourselves.
Yeah.
That we need the TV on, the music. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything, of course. I mean,
Of
music.
course.
Yeah, I mean, music is a joy. Who doesn't love music? But there's a time and a place. And can we get to that place where there's just utter joy inside of us, that we don't need any external force?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you really want to try to get. I mean, that's pure bliss.
Yeah.
Not to achieve.
Got it. No, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing now to help me and all of our listeners understand more. You know, we talked about being overwhelmed, how important that is, but what about creating more space, more time so we can breathe? How can things like meditation maybe help us? Or you talk about meditation in motion, how other ways could you help us gain happiness?
Oh, that's a great question. So I just taught this topic actually virtually to a bunch of high school kids. And, you never know, but they were like sponges.
Mm.
And a school called and asked me to just do, it was part of their gym program. They were doing their health, and we did it as part of like one of their health lessons. So meditation in motion is something I like to call it that. It's being in that constant state of flow where it is a form of meditation. So when people ask about meditation, most often, I can't do it.
Mm.
Most often they're like, nope, not for me. Can't sit, can't. And I'll tell you the honest truth, that was me.
Wow.
When I did my first yoga teacher training, I was killing it and everything else, but I was like, yeah, this meditation thing. And it wasn't until I got outside and started walking. But so this is where this is where Leaping Lotus comes in, where it's find that there is, I promise you, in every single human being, there is that little thing that speaks to you in a way that you're like, oh, this is working for me.
Yeah.
And for me, my example was I was getting outside and I was putting one foot forward, and I was thinking about that. I was thinking about creating the rhythm and creating the breath,
Yeah.
inhale and exhale, and I was watching myself walk, and over and over and over again doing that, it clicked in my head. And coming from, this is me, who's not a sitter at all. I mean, never been, and that's just who I am.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are that way. So meditation is like, what do you mean you want me to sit? I can't, or they think it's this. It's not.
Yeah. Okay, good.
It's not. I mean, it's part, it can be, but it's not this. This is not for everybody. This is for the person that wants this. This is not, um, meditation, Jill, is just living in that active state of awareness
Got it.
where when you're cutting up your dinner, right, where you're cutting those vegetables, you're not thinking about anything else except those vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Chopping away, and you're there. So that with everything that you do,
Yeah.
you're not in 20,000 places at once. You're present with every single thing that you do. That's meditation in motion. And to get to that is incredibly, incredibly life-changing, incredible. Because everything that you do, it's just this outpouring devotion.
Yeah.
Like this experience, I mean, I'm so grateful to be here with you, and there's just this gratitude. No, really.
Oh, thank you. And same here. No, I get to learn so much from you and doing this job. It's amazing to hear everyone's story and how they help people, and each and every one is unique. And I know, by the way, you helped out a lot of students recently, right? Are you doing virtual sessions with some students? Where exactly?
High schools, have a lot of colleagues that are teachers,
Right.
and this was a tough year, like we know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did some virtual teaching on what is meditation. And I mean, the questions these kids were asking me, I'm like, oh my God, they get it. They get it. They were messaging me. I so needed this. I have an exam coming up and I was a nervous wreck. Thank you so much. I mean, the
Wow.
private messages I was getting,
Aw.
this is exactly why I love doing this.
Good.
And they asked me to come back in person, which
Amazing.
I'm so excited next week, because some, schools are back in session. So that's great. That's so great. I mean, I can't, if I could do this for every single human, I would, honestly.
Well, aren't you starting a blog now? I mean, it's kind of what you'll be doing it. We could all check it out on the website. Tell us about the blog.
This is what inspired my blog. This is exactly what inspired my blog, because people were calling.
Yeah.
You know what? I think the big thing we all think is we're alone in this. Like, why can't I get it together? We're so hard on ourselves. We all are. And it's a lot of that shame of like, I don't know who to call. I don't know what to tell. I'm a wreck. And this is so like, I always get these, don't tell anybody I'm calling you. I get it. I promise you I will never, ever tell. So I started this blog for that reason, because I thought, maybe people just need a little bit of inspiration to read. And maybe just a little paragraph would be enough to get them through whatever it is that they're struggling with for the day, or inspire them in a way that, I never thought they would be inspired, or they never thought they would be inspired. Plus I love to write anyway. And I thought this is a fun little project for me. And it's a place to also put all these things down. Like, there's so much happening, and I just needed to kind of put it all in one spot. So check it out. You could sign on for the blog on the website. You could just log.
What's the website?
It's sleepinglotusfit.com.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a spot up there, I think on the upper right-hand corner, where it says sign up for my blog. You could just put your email there, and then every time I send a message, it goes out. It's very easy. And it's something that I'm just hoping to share with people. And it's a simple little thing. Maybe read it before work in the morning. Nice little ritual. I don't know, whatever it is.
And what about social media? Can we find you there?
Absolutely. I am on I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Leaping Lotus Wellness Studio on both. You can follow me. You can also message me privately. You can also call me. My phone number is 201-903-5028. I do take texts and phone calls on that number. I'm very easy to reach. You can send me an email to leapinglotusfit@gmail.com.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Lina, or can I call you Leelah? But really, thank you for everything. Thank you for inspiring our listeners today. And we'll be in touch, and we'll look forward to that blog there on the website as well. Have a great day.
Jill.
Thank you. And to all of our listeners out there, stay tuned. More of the show is on the way.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.